Very good day, my dear students. In this video, I am going to share with you a sure short way to clear the upcoming CA Inter-Tax paper. At the outset, I would like to mention that you must watch this video right till the very end. If 1. You are preparing for your first attempt and want this to be your first and the last attempt. 2. If you are repeating and don't want to repeat the attempt again, if you want this to be your last attempt. 3. If you are already studying from TaxBook Plus or plan to study from TaxBook Plus and want to know how to use TaxBook Plus for 100% success. This video is divided into 3 parts. Part A, in which I'll tell you why do 85% students fail and what you need to do to be amongst the 15% who don't fail. Part B, I'll tell you about the powerful tools which will ensure you're amongst the successful 15%. And in part C, I'll share with you a master plan to crack the tax exam with TaxBook Plus. I have given the timestamps of these parts in the description box, so you can directly use the timestamps to go to a section if you want. So almost all of you are either already preparing or plan to prepare for the upcoming CA Intermediate Taxation Examination. And all of you wish to clear the exam in the upcoming attempt itself. But you know, only about 15 to 20% pass. And what about the rest? They fail. And what are the reasons? Well, reasons differ from person to person, but some of the common reasons are: number 1, study material and books are substandard. They are of poor quality. Number 2, teacher is ineffective. Teacher is inefficient. Number 3, concepts are not clear enough. There is a lack of in-depth understanding and clarity on concepts. Number 4, you don't practice enough. You don't practice with consistency. You don't practice with regularity. And you don't practice for a sufficiently long period of time. Number 5, you tend to adopt a route which is a shortcut route. There is no shortcut to tax. Tax is vast and CA exam is not easy. Basically, you try to gain the maximum while devoting the least amount of time and effort. How is this possible? You think that you will do a fast track class in the shortest possible period of time and you will clear the CA exam? You think that you will practice 10, 15, 20 questions on a chapter and you will master the concepts? How is this possible? It's very difficult. Number 6, you are loaded with distractions. Maybe excessive usage of mobile phone, social media, you are hooked onto the internet, gaming addiction, you are into a relationship, etc., etc. All these distractions. Number 7, you are not consistent enough, you are not disciplined enough, and you are not serious enough. But even if you do all the things which are in your control, so if you adopt a route which is not a shortcut route, right? If you prevent yourself from various kinds of distractions, if you are consistent, if you are disciplined, and if you are serious, even then you will still fail if, number 1, the study material and books are substandard, if the teacher is ineffective, if the concepts are not clear, and if you don't practice enough. So if you really want to clear your exams, you must change certain things. You need to change certain things. So it is here that crack the tax approach comes to empower you. It is a unique approach loaded with powerful exam cracker tools for sure short success. It is basically a holistic approach, which means that it combines various elements to ensure 100% success for you. It provides you with a powerful study material, which is TaxBook Plus. It's at the core, at the heart of this approach. You get direct support from Sharad sir, from me, right till the date of your exam. You get Tax Cruiser, which comprises of 2 beautiful, extremely useful compilers, interlinking compiler and facts and figures compiler. I'll talk about them in some time. Then there is Tax Max with Sharad sir, my YouTube channel Tax with Sharad, in which you can find useful and interesting videos, plus updates and tips, and all these elements combine to deliver 100% success for you. So TaxBook Plus is at the core of this approach. Let's take a quick look. TaxBook Plus comprises both income tax and GST. It comprises both concepts and practice. It comprises 4 books in all, 2 for income tax and 2 for GST. Income tax concepts, income tax practice, GST concepts, and GST practice. Concepts book covers concepts, tax traps, and illustrations. And practice book covers questions, MCQs, case scenarios, and CA exam questions. 748 concepts are covered. 1538 tax traps are covered. What are tax traps? These are caution areas which are highlighted so that you do not commit commonly made mistakes. 1951 illustrations, 2451 questions for practice, 1826 MCQs, 20 case scenarios, past 20 CA exam questions. And then on top of all this, you get bonus. What is that? You get direct support from me right till your exam, so I don't leave you in between. You get a beautiful, very useful interlinking compiler and a very useful facts and figures compiler. So TaxBook Plus is conceptually unique. It is loaded with powerful tools to grasp concepts. It is loaded with powerful tools to practice, powerful tools for quick learning, and it is loaded with ICAI questions which are fully integrated. So let's see how TaxBook Plus is conceptually unique. First, as we saw, it encompasses a holistic approach. So it comes along with direct support from me, tax cruiser compilers, that means interlinking and facts and figures compilers, my YouTube channel, and updates and tips, and all these ensure 100% success for you. 100% coverage. TaxBook Plus has 100% coverage of new ICAI syllabus and study material, nothing more and nothing less. So basically it contains everything you need. The essence of TaxBook Plus is it is to the point and sharply exam oriented to ensure that you learn max and least time. You don't waste your time because time is very precious. So it cuts the flap. You will find many books in the market which not only cover CA syllabus but also cover syllabus of CS, of CMA, of BCom, of MB, etc., etc. So you have a lot of things in the book which you really do not need, and it just wastes your time. Even if the book is meant only for CA, income tax is endless and vast, and so the authors tend to dump as many things as possible without thinking whether these things are really useful for you or not. But TaxBook Plus is different in essence because it cuts the flab and it is sharply exam oriented. Now let's move to powerful tools to grasp concepts. On top is tax traps. So as I said, tax traps are caution areas, and these have been highlighted so that you steer clear and avoid common mistakes. So for example, we look at chapter 5 on salaries and tax traps, and you can see these tax traps which have been highlighted in gray. So for example, in terms of special allowances, there are 2 tax traps. Exemption is available regardless of the amount of expenditure. No exemption is available for mines or locations outside India. So these are some of the common mistakes which students commit. See all these tax traps. So there are lots of tax traps spread across the whole book. And as I said, how many tax traps are there in all? So there are 1538 tax traps across income tax and GST. That's a whole lot. Next, what do you get is Tax Cruiser. Now Tax Cruiser is a compiler. So there are 2 compilers basically, interlinking compiler and facts and figures compiler, and Tax Cruiser is basically something which is extremely useful. And as you can see on your screen, interlinking compiler. Quickly grasp interlinking of multiple concepts for solving practical questions. And then you have got facts and limits compiler. Quickly revise important formulae, limits, thresholds, dates, etc. Every reading is equal to super revision. Solve exam questions without mistakes. Overcome the top reason why most students fail. So when we talk about interlinking compiler, so basically we need to understand that most exam questions cover multiple concepts cutting across several provisions of the Act. ICAI gives questions, almost all questions have multiple angles. There are no vanilla, plain, simple questions which you can answer very easily. Multiple angles are involved from across the board, and therefore it is must to apply all interlinked concepts to solve the questions. And since the students are mostly unable to do it, it is one of the top reasons why many students fail to clear the tax exam. Only 15 to 20% pass. So what does this compiler give you? It highlights tax concepts connected to key topics so that you clearly understand and quickly grasp the interlinkages. And how does this help you? This ensures that you solve questions without omissions and mistakes. Okay. Second compiler is the facts and figures compiler. What is this? As we know, tax law is vast. It has numerous formulae, limits, threshold, dates, etc. And we need to remember these because we don't know what may be asked in the exam. So it is challenging to remember these facts and figures, and all the more difficult to recollect them correctly while solving questions in the exam. And students are not able to do it. So this is also one of the top reasons why many students fail to clear the tax exams. Only 15 to 20% pass, around 85% fail. So what does this compiler do for you? It highlights the important formulae, limits, threshold, dates, etc. in a super compact and easy to revise format. And this ensures that you solve questions without omissions and mistakes. Without omissions and mistakes. So we will very quickly look at the first compiler, interlinking compiler. So you see the first compiler, the first section is on income tax. So you have all these themes, 56 themes and all, right? So for example, if you look at the theme of gift or benefit, so these are the various angles. These are all the various angles that you need to keep in mind. So these are the areas and the impact which each area has. And the best part is, it is also given that in which para and in which chapter of TaxBook Plus you will find these. So you can quickly cross-link all these interlinkages with your main TaxBook Plus on concepts. So similarly, you see Hindu undivided family, immovable property. So this is a beautiful interlinking compiler. Interest. So you need to keep in mind all these angles for interest. As far as a minor is concerned, a minor child, all these angles, right? So whenever there is a question in which there is a angle of a minor, you know that you need to check for all these angles. So this is really helpful. Similarly, you have this interlinking compiler for GST and you see all these themes. So there are 107 themes and all, right? So for example, if you click on personal use, so you have personal use. So all these angles, all these interlinkages come into play. And see, there is so much in GST which you need to keep in mind. So this is really, really handy. The second compiler, as I told you, is the facts and figures compiler. So if you look at income tax, which is the first section, so this is chapter wise, and this is basically the compiler. So if you look at rates of tax chapter, so senior citizen age should be 60 years or more but less than 80 years, and the cutoff to become a senior citizen for PY 23 to 24 is 1st April 1964. Basic exemption limit, default tax regime is 3 lakh, optional tax regime for normal is this, for senior citizen is this, for super senior citizen is this. The cess in all the cases is 4%. Similarly, you have all these facts and figures in super compact way, and this is chapter wise: exempt income, residential scope, residential status and scope, salaries, and so on. And then you have a similar compiler for GST as well, which is chapter wise: introduction, scope of supply, charge, exemptions, time of supply, place of supply, ITC, value of supply. See, this becomes extremely useful for you when you are closer to the exam and when you want everything to be on your tips. So after Tax Cruiser, we move on to video tutorials. So you have got this Tax with Sharad channel on YouTube where you can watch useful videos on statutory updates, on exam paper solutions, ICAI MCQs and case scenario solutions, Finance Act amendments, select concepts, updates, and more. And this ensures that you get 100% clarity. Okay, so what we are talking about? We are talking about powerful tools to grasp concepts. Next are illustrations. So numerous illustrations are present in TaxBook Plus, and they cover all the provisions. For every provisions you have illustration. And this ensures that you fully grasp application of concepts. And this is so very important because one of the top reasons why students fail is lack of clarity on concepts. So as I told you, how many illustrations are there? 1951 illustrations in all in TaxBook. So if you see, for example, salary chapter, so you have this concept on gratuity, and then immediately thereafter you have these illustrations. You have these illustrations on different situations. Then you have this topic on pension, and then again you have got these illustrations. Again you have got these illustrations and so on. So there are lots of illustrations which are there across TaxBook Plus. After illustrations, what do you get in terms of helping you grasp concepts properly is what? Logic and reasoning. Logic and reasoning is highlighted for key provisions. And why is this important? It's really, really important because it helps you understand and learn better. Unless you know the why of a provision, it becomes very difficult to understand, it becomes very difficult to apply, and very difficult to remember. If you know the why, then it becomes easy to apply, easy to understand, and easy to remember and recollect in the exam. So that's why logic and reasoning is very important. So logic and reasoning is given across the book. So for example, we are talking about provident fund tax treatment, and then you see these footnotes which represent the various logics and reasoning. See, PPF is an investment which is not linked to employment and thus does not have implications under the salaries. Limit of 12% is prescribed. Why? To prevent abuse of exemption. Employees' contributions is not taxable. Why? Since it is application of salary dash dash dash. Okay, this is exempt. Why? Since no deduction was allowed dash dash dash. So logic and reasoning across TaxBook you will find for all the important provisions so that you clearly understand the why of a provision. Then you have the non-tax side, something which is not strictly as per the Income Tax Act, but which you need to understand in order to appreciate the law, and which is outside the area of taxation. So student notes are given to explain important non-tax themes so that you learn the practical side. So, you have this topic of provident fund, and you can see in these double lined boxes, you have got these non-tax sides which have been explained. So for example, in this particular case, the concept of and the purpose of provident fund has been explained and how it really works, right? So across TaxBook Plus, you will have lots of these instances where I've explained the non-tax side to help you understand everything in the best way. ICAI views. So as we know, income tax at many places can have multiple interpretation, and all the interpretations will be right in their own way. There can be more than one way in which a question can be solved. There can be more than one view. ICAI has a particular view. In the study material, the ICAI has also given that one may adopt an alternative view also, and both views, if you adopt and you give a proper note in the answer, then you will get the relevant marks. So TaxBook Plus is fully aligned to ICAI views. Alternative methods are also highlighted. Go with what ICAI says. So for example, in salary chapter, you have this topic on gift, voucher, and token. And here you have two views. So TaxBook Plus clearly mentions both the views. There are two views in respect of exemption limit. As per view 1, this should be done. As per view 2, this should be done. And you should clearly state the view you follow in your answer. You will get the relevant marks. So wherever there are alternatives possible, alternatives have been given. Wherever the ICAI has taken a particular view, that is also stated in TaxBook Plus, so that there is no confusion. So these were the powerful tools to grasp concepts, and now we will look at powerful tools to practice. So there is a huge question bank. Numerous questions are given to help you practice perfect and build confidence. Questions, MCQs, and case scenarios. So there is a huge question bank, and as we saw, you have 2,454 questions. 2,454 questions. 1,826 MCQs and 20 case scenarios. Okay, so you have got unlimited practice to do. You have lots of practice which is on offer for you, and this is really, really important because tax is all about practice, practice, practice. One of the top reasons why people fail in the exam is because there is lack of enough practice. They think that they will just do 10-15 questions on a chapter and they will be able to clear the exams. It's next to impossible. So TaxBook Plus really helps you, and there is a huge question bank. So for example, in the practice book, so this is something that you will find in the practice book. So these are all the questions in the practice book. See, you have all these unlimited questions. So you have these questions, and the best part is that the questions are succeeded by solutions, full working notes, so that you don't have to jump here and there. And the working notes are right there below the question. So you don't have to move from page to page hunting for the solution, right? So you basically need to solve these questions, hiding the answer. Solve the question first, and then you need to cross-check. And this also helps you because you also get to understand the right way of presentation, because presentation is also very important when you talk about exams. So huge question bank, ICAI style MCQs. So most MCQs in the ICAI exams are situation based. They are not vanilla one-liners. And they are given the same way in TaxBook Plus. So if you look at MCQs, say they're all situation based. Situation based. Because this is how it is asked in the exams. So you practice it this way. Okay. Then you have got ICAI style case scenarios. Case scenarios are what? They are application based MCQs covering multiple concepts, and they cover multiple angles. This is how it is asked in the exams, and these are given to give you a solid grasp over the provisions. Currently, these are given for direct tax. So if you see, these are the case scenarios in the practice book. So there are these case scenarios, and then you have right below, you have the answer hints. You have the answer key with hints, right? So all these are various case scenarios which really help you to consolidate all that you have learned across various chapters. And as we saw, you have the full working steps which are provided for all the questions. Unlike others, we don't leave you with just the final answer figure. So you can not only check the answer, but also the working notes and also the presentation part. One interesting thing that you find in the textbook which is very useful are examiner comments. These are mistakes made by students in the past, and these are highlighted so that you are alert. So for example, you can see this examiner comment, and they are given in the practice book below the questions where the examiner comments are there in this particular fashion, gray in italics. So mistake by students, allowed exemption under section 1014 for allowance of education and hostel even when it is out of India. So you have got lots of these examiner comments across the book, and these are extremely useful. Topic-wise arrangement. Illustrations, questions, and MCQs are arranged topic-wise so that you structure your study smoothly, right? So if you look at the concept book, all these illustrations are arranged under each topic. So they are arranged topic-wise, right? So you've got a topic, and then you've got an illustration, you've got a topic, and then an illustration. And similarly, the same pattern is followed in the practice book as well, and this is really useful. So you've got questions on the topic basic concepts, and then questions on DNS and compensatory, on retirement benefits, and so on. So all this is arranged topic wise, and this really helps you structure your studies. Finally, all questions are aligned to the actual exam difficulty level, not below, not above, so that you practice questions of nature which are actually asked in the exams. You will see a lot of books in the market where you either have questions which are simple vanilla plain liners which are extremely easy, and it makes no sense to practice that, okay, because you won't be able to face the kind of questions that you are actually asked in the exams. Or there would be questions which are beyond, which are say of a final level, of a CA final level. That also doesn't make sense. TaxBook Plus has the questions which are aimed at the difficulty level of CA intermediate taxation, which is asked actually by the ICAI. Now we come to the ICAI questions which are fully integrated. So you have past 20 exam questions, and these are incorporated. As far as GST is concerned, the questions are since May 2018, because this was the first exam held on the GST law. Okay, before that, GST was not there. So for income tax, you have past 20 attempts, and since May 2018, you have this for GST. And they are fully solved as per the latest law. So you need not buy scanners or compilers. You will see something like this. CA 23 May, this question was asked, and we are in the salary chapter only. Okay, CA 22 November this was asked, CA 21 December this was asked. So you have got chapter wise questions you can see which have been asked in the past 20 attempts of ICAI exams across all chapters of the tax book. Plus you will see this both for income tax and for GST. And the good part is that questions from new and old schemes have been incorporated. So now old scheme has been discontinued. Old scheme was there till some time back. So there were exams both for new and old schemes. So you have got past questions for new as well as old schemes, and all of them you need to practice. All of them are very relevant. You cannot say that old scheme has been discontinued, so I won't practice old scheme questions which have been asked. So both new and old scheme questions have been incorporated. All are important for you to practice. Then what about RTP and MTP questions? Now ICAI, as you know, releases RTP and MTP. Now RTP and MTP questions and answers as such cannot be reproduced because the ICAI owns the copyright and we don't want any copyright violations to be done. But most angles and points covered in the past RTP and MTP questions of ICAI have been integrated in the existing tax book plus questions so that you do not miss out on anything to practice. So all important angles, most of the important angles have been incorporated in the existing questions itself. Okay, but we can't reproduce the RTP and MTP questions as such. Now we come to powerful tools for quick learning. Lots of charts and tables. Numerous charts and tables are given for super simple, clear and quick learning. And it also greatly helps in very quick and effective revision. So if you look at the salary chapter again, so you have got these charts, these kind of charts. See, gift voucher, token, what is the treatment, and then you have got this interest-free loan, what is the treatment, and then you have got this F&B treatment, okay, and transfer of movable assets. So across tax book plus income tax and GST, you will find loads of charts and tables. Intelligent highlighting. Keywords and figures are highlighted for quick attention and speed revision. It really helps you to capture that quickly, the important things, the facts and figures. The facts and figures compilers we saw, that's extremely useful. The same thing across tax book, across chapters have been highlighted intelligently, and this greatly helps you in quick revision as well. You see, at the rate of 50%, at the rate of 20%, at the rate of 10%. And these important words, transfer, movable, actual cost, completed, use. So these are intelligent highlighting. These are intelligent highlights which really help you in quick revision and quick learning. Know what is asked. Topics asked in exams are highlighted so that you focus on ABC analysis. So you know about ABC analysis. What is most important, what is regularly asked in exams is A, which is most important. You need to devote the fullest possible attention. Then comes B and then comes C. So this really helps you because this kind of symbol, this kind of circle when you see, it helps. So you see this kind of symbol, use of movable asset. So question has been asked, you know that this is important. So across tax book plus you find these symbols. Theme arrangement. Section-wise learning is ineffective. You will find several teachers and several books where they will teach you section-wise. Section 12 क्या कहता है, what is section 13, what is section 14, what is section 15, 16. So they move section-wise. But the law doesn't work this way. While the Income Tax Act is based on section, learning should not be section-wise. Learning should be topic-wise or theme-wise. That is why the current content is arranged as themes, so that you understand concepts rather than mere sections. So all the chapters are based on themes. So for example, if you look at this salary chapter, this is a theme index which is given right at the beginning. So basics, general payments, DNS and compensatory, retirement benefits, health and life, housing, travel and conveyance, education, assets, office support, financial incentives, specified employee, deductions, relief, exemptions, reductions block, tax planning, all these are themes. So everything is based on themes. And then when you move to the chapter also, you find everything is based on themes. General payments, DNS and compensatory, retirement benefits, right? And this is the same way things have been arranged in practice book as well. So you find the same things for questions as well. Basic concepts, DNS and compensatory, retirement benefits. So everything is kind of aligned to the concept book. So concept books and practice books are interlinked. And the good thing is, if you look at the practice book, if you look at the concept book, for example, if you are learning gratuity, so you first understand the concept, then you do the illustrations, and then right after the illustrations you have the cross reference of questions which you need to practice or MCQs which you need to practice. So you have got these numbers, and then you go to these numbers in the practice book, say B11 to B14. So you go there, B11 to B14, and then you see questions on gratuity. So everything is cross-linked, not only the questions but also the case, but also the MCQs. So as you can see, these are the unique and powerful features which are loaded in TaxBook to ensure 100% success for you. That's why I say TaxBook is very unique and powerful. And if you use it properly, there is no reason why you should not succeed in your exams. TaxBook Plus is therefore a very powerful and unique book. It is packed with several powerful tools and features to ensure that you succeed in exams in a single attempt, in your very first attempt. So how should you use TaxBook Plus to your fullest advantage? Here is a plan, and I call it the master plan to crack the tax with TaxBook Plus. If you practice this master plan fully with all sincerity, seriousness, discipline, and without distraction, and on a regular basis, you can be sure that you would be amongst the 15% students who clear their exams. Success will be assured. So let's begin with the master plan and understand what are the things that you need to do for 100% success. So the master plan is basically divided into 3 stages. Stage 1 is while you are studying. So you're studying all the chapters, chapter 1, 2, 3, so on. So you're studying the book, the chapters. Stage 2 sets in once you have studied all the chapters. That's the time to consolidate, okay, the various things that you have studied. And stage 3 comes closer to the exams, for example, fortnight before exams. So these are the 3 stages. As far as stage 1 is concerned, this is the first stage while you are studying. And what you need to do has been listed here as 9 items, as 9 to-dos, okay. Number 1, tax traps. We saw what are tax traps. What you need to do is you need to carefully note the tax traps, and they are highlighted as grey text. These are caution areas to help you avoid commonly made mistakes, and you will find it across the concepts book. And as we saw, if you look at the statistics, the TaxBook Plus consists of 1,538 tax traps in all. That's a huge number. And if you go through these diligently and seriously, you can be assured that you won't commit any of the commonly made mistakes. And if you look at the various chapters, you will see these tax traps in gray, across the book, right? So you will see all these tax traps, and you need to look at these carefully. Number 2 are facts and figures. Carefully note the key words, figures, limits, formulae, dates, etc. These are highlighted in bold and or gray for quick attention, and they also help in speedy revision. And you will find this across the concepts book. So some time back we saw what are these facts and figures and how are these highlighted. So as you can see, 800 per month, 200 per month, mines, optional, not, defaults, all these are intelligent highlights. All these are words which have been highlighted in gray or in bold, and these are really important. And while you are studying, you must very carefully note these, and these will be very handy to you when you want to do a revision in a quick format. Number 3, illustrations. So we saw you have got illustrations which are spread across the book. You need to read them once carefully, okay, then solve them yourself. Okay, so let's first see how many illustrations are there. As we saw some time back, there are 1,951 illustrations across the book, okay. And for example, you have this topic, and then this is followed by illustrations, and then you have got another topic, and then this topic is followed by illustrations. So what you should do, you should first go through the topic carefully, you should understand the concepts, and then you should look at and go through the illustration carefully, and then solve the illustration yourself. Solve the illustration yourself. How will this help? This will make you practice typical scenarios on all important provisions. You will find illustrations across the concepts book. Number 4 comes BYC questions, which is BYC stands for build your confidence. So these are the descriptive questions. So we have BYC questions, MCQs, case scenarios, master questions, and so on. So BYC questions. BYC questions, all the questions which you can find. So as we saw, there are 2,454 questions. Lots of questions, unlimited practice which you can do. So if you look at salary chapters, all these are BYC questions, and these are consequentially, these are serially numbered. So B1 to 7, so this is a set of 7 questions, so that's why it's B1 to 7, and this is then followed by B8, and then B9, okay, B10, B11, and so on. So either they can be standalone questions, or there can be a set of questions, in which case the question will be numbered B1 to 7 or BX to Y. Okay, and the best part is these are all cross-linked with the concept book. So if you are talking about pension, and then you go through the concept, and then you go through the illustrations, solve the illustrations once by yourself, cross-check with the answer, and then you solve BYC question number B15 to B17, and then you go to practice book and solve that question. So hide the answer, solve the question, and then cross-check the answer. Okay, when you cross-check the answer, cross-check the working notes, the way in which the question has been solved, including the presentation. Presentation part is very important. That gives you marks. If your presentation is not good, you are bound to lose marks in the exams. So everything is given in practice book, in concepts book as concepts, in practice book as questions. You need to solve yourself, you need to check the presentation, the working notes, everything, and you should try to bring yourself as close as possible to the way things have been solved in the book. So solve all the BYC questions, don't miss any, to get a solid grasp on provisions. Question numbers are given along with each topic for ready reference. So as we saw, after every topic you have got the question number, and then you go to the practice book and solve those questions, and then come back to the concept book. Especially solve all the past exam questions. As we know, last 20 ICAI exam questions have been covered, both from new and old schemes, and all of these are important, and all of these are covered in the practice book. Next, number 5, MCQs. So MCQs, as we noted, you have 1,826 MCQs, and all of these, most of these in fact, are situation based, and this is how it's asked in the exams. So as you can see, these are MCQs, and these are based on the same themes or topics as you will find in the concepts book. So same sequence. So you do the topic in the concepts book, and below the topic you will find the MCQs which need to be solved. You come to the practice book and you solve the MCQs M1, M2, M3, 4, 5. So all of these are serially numbered. And towards the end you will have the answer key, and then you also have the hints to MCQ answers. So while you solve, you go through these hints to understand the logic behind the solution. So solve all MCQs to gain super confidence. Most MCQs are situation based. They are not vanilla one-liner types. This is how they are asked in the exam. So you go through the practice book and solve all the MCQs. The interesting item is item number 6, which is the master question. And as we saw, master questions are there which are present in almost all the chapters. So most chapters have master questions covering all important angles of a particular chapter. So what is the advantage? The advantage is that you solve the master question and you practice the whole chapter at one go. So these are highlighted in gray, and these are in practice book, and this really helps closer to the exam. When you don't have the time to practice and go through the entire chapter, you just solve the master question, and that's it. You are done with the entire chapter. So for example, in the practice book, in the practice of salary chapter, you have this master question, okay, and this is highlighted in gray. And in this master question, you have got all the angles which are covered in the chapter on salaries, and you have got the solution You solve this and then you cross-check your solution with the solution given in the book, including the working notes and the style of presentation, and that's it. You are done with the entire salary chapter. Master questions are generally of comprehensive nature and they are slightly longer than the other usual general questions. So you can also solve these mentally. In the first instance, you should try to solve it in writing, but later on, especially when you find that you don't have enough time, you should solve it mentally. That means you do a mental audit. Think of the answer and then cross-check with the given solution instead of solving it entirely in writing. This way, you revise and practice the whole chapter at one go. Number 7 is examiner comments. We noted the examiner comments. Carefully note the examiner comments. They are given in gray italics and they represent the mistakes which students have done in the past, and this will help you avoid those mistakes again. Okay, so that you are alert and do not repeat them, and you will find them in the practice book. So this is an example. It will be written mistakes by students and then you will have the examiner comment. Allowed exemption even when it is out of India. So this was a mistake. This should not have been done. So these kind of examiner comments will put you on alert. Number 8, Finance Act amendments. So the amendments which have been made by Finance Act, the one relevant for May 24 exam and November 24 will be the Finance Act 23. And these are given in bold and italics. Carefully note the amendments. These are recent amendments on which questions are likely to be asked, and these you will find across the concepts book. And then you have got the YouTube channel, which is Tax with Sharad channel, which you are currently watching this video on. So watch videos on my YouTube channel to get a clear grasp on concepts, updates, solutions, amendments, and a lot more. So these 9 to-dos or 9 items are something that you must carefully make a note of and follow up during stage 1 while you are studying. Once you have completed with stage 1, that means you have studied all the chapters, you have done all the illustrations, and you have done all the questions and MCQs. That means you have covered the entire TaxBook Plus, you have studied all the chapters. Now comes to stage 2 where you need to combine all that you have studied, where you need to compile and consolidate everything that you have studied, because you need to understand one thing, that the kind of questions that are asked in ICAI exams are mostly situation based or case study based, where multiple angles are involved, and those angles may in most of the cases cover multiple chapters of the book. So in one single question you may have an angle from the chapter on capital gain, on salary, on household property, on capital gain, on tax deduction at source, on advanced tax, and so on. Especially the first question, which is the long question, the comprehensive question, and other questions as well. So it's very important that you now consolidate, and there are a few things, basically 1, 2, and 3. 3 things that you now need to do in order to ensure that you consolidate things well and you are well prepared for exams. First is that you do and solve all the case scenarios. All the case scenarios. Case scenarios typically involve multiple angles. They are based on a case, they are based on a case study, and then they include multiple angles. And when you solve them, you get a very good hold on solving questions with multiple angles. And this is something that you will find in practice book. Currently, they are available for direct tax. So in practice book, direct tax, in income tax practice book, you will have chapter 16 where you will see these case scenarios. There are 20 case scenarios in all. So you have got these, you have got this case, and then you have got these 4 questions with MCQ type questions with answer options, and then you have got the answer key with hints as well. So you hide this answer key with hints, you solve it first, and then you cross check your answer with the answer key and go through the hints. The next thing that you need to do in order to consolidate the entire learning is to carefully go through the interlinking compiler. Some time back, we had taken a look at the interlinking compiler, and this is what we saw. We saw Tax Cruiser. We saw 2 compilers, interlinking compiler and facts and limits. It's actually facts and figures compiler. So interlinking compiler, we also saw the importance, because interlinking is very, very important, and the inability to figure out the different angles involved in a question is one of the top reasons for failure, and therefore this Tax Cruiser is really important, and you need to go through the Tax Cruiser interlinking again and again on a very regular basis. So what I am suggesting is that interlinking compiler. You read it again and again. It is a powerful interlinking compiler which highlights tax concepts connected to key topics. How will this help? Regular reading will help you clearly understand and quickly grasp the interlinkages. This will ensure that you solve questions without omissions and mistakes. Without omissions and mistakes. The good part is that it is given in the concepts book. Towards the end, you will find interlinking compiler both for income tax and GST you will find. If you have got the practice book, you won't have this as part of the book, but then it will be freely accessible online. What you need to do is you need to go to taxwithsharad.com, my website. You need to log in, and when you log in, you will have a section where you can simply go and open the online interlinking compiler. So this is not a one-time reading. You need to read it again and again and again and again till the time your exams happen, because this will get into your head. And then when you are there in the exam hall solving the questions, you will be able to very easily identify all the multiple angles involved in a particular scenario. You will not make any omission or mistake. So that's why you need to have a clear grasp on interlinking. The third thing you need to do is facts and figures compiler. So facts and figures compiler, as we saw, is the second compiler, facts and figures compiler. And it's important because you see it's very challenging to remember the various facts and figures, and all the more difficult to recollect them correctly while solving questions. Because in income tax you have numerous formulae, limits, threshold, dates, etc., etc., and you need to recollect all these, and you don't know what kind of question may come and what kind of facts and figures you may need to apply. So as we saw some time back as well, this is the facts and figures compiler both for income tax and GST, and this is arranged chapter wise, and for every chapter you can see these facts and figures, various dates, limits, percentages, etc., etc., which are given. And this is really, really useful when you want to revise things quickly and when you want the various numerous facts and figures to basically get into your head so that you're able to recollect them effectively while you're solving questions in the exam and you don't commit any mistake and error. And therefore, what you need to do, just like interlinking compiler, it's not a one-time reading. You need to read it again and again till your exams, because it highlights important formulae, limits, thresholds, dates, etc. in a super compact and easy to revise format. How will this help? This will ensure that you solve questions without omissions and mistakes. The good part is that just like interlinking compiler, facts and figures compiler is also given in towards the end of the concepts book. If you don't have the concepts book, if you have the practice book, then also you can access this free online. You just go to my site and log in and you will find a section where you can have access to this. So basically in stage one, what we did, we understood things well. We focused on concepts and practice, right? We ensured that we have understood the concepts well and we know how to apply all these concepts in solving the questions. And then we came to stage two, where we said that now we need to consolidate everything. We need to get a great grasp on the interlinking points and on the various facts and figures. So this basically consolidates our study. And now we are closer to the exam. We are kind of well prepared to take on the exams. And so comes stage three, which is the fortnight, say fortnight before the exams, 2 weeks or 3 weeks, whatever. And basically, we need to do a recap. We need to do power revision. We need to do a power recap. We need to recap everything, okay, so that everything is fresh in our mind while we are moving into the exam hall. And there are basically 6 things that we need to keep in mind. And all these things we have already done in stage 1 and stage 2. But now what we are doing is that we are doing a revision exercise, a quick recap exercise closer to the exams. So charts and tables. There are numerous charts and tables across the book. There are numerous charts and tables. So for example, salary chapter. So you have got this leave salary and leave encashment chart. Okay. Then you have got this pension chart. Then you have got this gratuity chart. So how does the chart help? It helps in super quick and easy understanding. It helps to remember. It helps to memorize. It helps to grasp. It helps in quick revision closer to the exams. So what do you need to do? Charts and tables. You revise all the charts and tables given in the book covering various concepts in the concepts book. Second, Once again, tax traps. You had gone through all the tax traps very carefully in stage 1. Now what you need to do in stage 3, you need to revise all the tax traps. Just go through them quickly. This will ensure you don't make common mistakes and you're aware of the mistakes that can be done, the traps that examiners may lay for you. And these are spread across the concepts book. Number 3 and 4, interlinking compiler and facts and figures compiler. You had been reading these two compilers again and again. You revise it now once again and you will have interlinking of concepts on your tips while solving practical questions given in concepts book. Similarly, for facts and figures compiler, revise it again and again. You will have important formulae, limits, threshold, dates on your tips given in the concepts book and also accessible online free. 5th, master questions. We talked about master question in stage 1 because master question encapsulates all the important points of a particular chapter, and most chapters have a master question. Okay, so you go through all the master questions. Achha, master questions are currently for income tax, available for income tax book, not available for GST book. They are in the making. So master questions, you go through all master questions once again. So without wasting a lot of time in going deeply through the entire chapter, you will practice the whole chapter at one go if you solve the master question. And I told you, closer to the exam, since you won't have time to solve the entire question in writing, you do a mental audit. You mentally solve the provisions and cross-check with the solution given. So you will be able to recap all the important provisions, the application of all the important provisions in one go for the entire chapter. Lastly, number 6, RTP and MTP. So ICAI would release RTP and MTP closer to the exam. So what do you need to do? You need to download those MTPs and RTPs from the ICAI website and you need to solve them. If possible, I may upload a video also explaining the solutions for RTP and MTP, especially for the case scenarios and MCQs, because if you note, the working steps or the full solution to the case scenarios and MCQs are not given by the ICAI. For RTP as well as MTP, they just give the final solution. So I may upload a video explaining the approach by which you have to arrive at a solution for the case scenario and MCQ. So stage 3 makes you super prepared for the exams, to hit the exam, to crack the exams. All throughout this, from the time you have the tax book plus in your hand till the time of your exams, you are entitled to get direct support from me. Okay, make full use of this facility. Make full use of this facility. So how to get direct support from me, the details you will find in the book itself. So you need to log into the website and there you will have a section where you can post your query and I will reply it as soon as possible. Also, there you will find my WhatsApp direct number. You can use that number to ask your query or speak out your query and connect with me for any doubt or clarification directly on WhatsApp to save time. So you've got both these options. Lastly, 2 points. You don't need to do these separately. Why? Because TaxBook Plus is more than enough. 1. Questions in ICAI study material. Why? Because all angles of law which are covered in the questions given in ICAI study material have been integrated in existing TaxBook Plus questions. So if you practice TaxBook Plus, you practice everything. You need not do these separately. If you have time, you go through the ICAI study material questions as well. If you feel you don't have enough time, but if you have done the entire TaxBook Plus, then you need not worry. That's what I'm trying to say. Second, past exam questions. Last 20 ICAI exam questions from the new as well as the old schemes are covered in the book. For GST, it is since May 2018 because that was the first attempt when GST was incorporated in the exams. The GST law was made effective. And they are fully solved as per the latest law. You won't find so many questions elsewhere. Okay, so you get all these past exam questions within TaxBook Plus, the practice book itself. So you don't need to separately buy scanners, crackers or compilers which are available in the market. There is no need because you have got everything covered in TaxBook Plus itself. So if you practice this master plan fully with all sincerity, discipline, seriousness and without distraction and with regularity and consistency, you can be sure that you would be amongst the 15% of students who clear their exams. Success will be assured. It's no surprise that students are loving TaxBook Plus and using this to study and to successfully clear their exams in a single attempt. So as you can see, these are really encouraging and fantastic feedback from my dear students. I will also urge you to join my Telegram or WhatsApp channel so that you do not miss out on any important update or announcement from me. And the QR code to join these channels is given on the first page of the TaxBook Plus, which you will find. Do like this video so that it reaches out to those students who need it. And please do subscribe to my channel and hit the bell icon especially so that you do not miss out on any videos which I release from time to time. And please share your views in the comment box and feel free to ask me anything and reach out to me for anything, for any doubt or for any clarification which you may have in your mind. And I wish you all the very best for all your preparations that are going on. See you again in my next video. All the very best to you. Good luck and goodbye.